Well, I definitely liked it way better than the first, but is it still worth seeing on the big screen? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Durbania, I'm Durbin, and this is my spoiler-free review for Blade Runner 2049. If you checked out my theological analysis for the first Blade Runner, you saw that it really wasn't one of my favorite movies. Part of it was Harrison Ford's bad VO, because yes, I watched the theatrical cut, not the final cut. I know, okay? I'm curious now to pick up the final cut. Just didn't have a strong interest to really do that until I just sat down and watched this one, Blade Runner 2049. And the reason is because this movie was actually pretty darn good. I mean, still not like my favorite movie of the year by a long shot, but surprisingly good and gripped me in a surprising way. It's got its positives, it's got its negatives, so let's hit those positives. First off, the acting was good. I liked Ryan Gosling. It was really cool to see Robin Wright in this. It was also really cool to see Drax. I know, he's got a real name, but I love Drax. I'm going to call him Drax. It was really cool that he popped up in this film. So, and Harrison Ford did a great job. I thought he did a great job bringing Deckard back. Because you know how sometimes an actor could step away from a role for a long, long time, and then when they come back to try to replay that role, they don't really capture the magic they did the first time they played it. Maybe it helps that I didn't like Deckard so much in the first one, but the point is I thought he did a great job recapturing that role of Deckard and bringing it back. So the acting was really good, but that aside, the best part, hands down, of this movie for me was the score. The music in this was incredible. I mean, it was awesome. It definitely had this strong 80s feel, but not that negative 80s feel. You're like, oh my gosh, it's the 80s. No, it had that really good feel. And the music was almost its own character. It brought with it its own emotion. It brought with it its own feelings. And it just would rise and fall at just the right places. It added so much to this movie, and it's one of the reasons I'd say if you're going to see this movie, you have to see it on the big screen. There was just something about seeing this on that large screen and then just having that music blare through those speakers. It just, in some ways, it just felt like it was thudding through my chest. I don't know, man, but whatever it was, this is worth a theatrical experience almost based on the music alone. But then also the visuals were incredible. Visually, it was just a really fun movie. And it takes place 30 years from the last one. So the last one's 2019, this is 2049. So, on the one hand, they did a great job, with downtown LA and other things like that, and they made it a freaking mess, like the first one was. There's times where, you're following the characters through LA, and it just feels like a freaking mess. I'm like, just get off world. My gosh, get on one of those ships and get off world. Any place has got to be better than how this place looks. But that's a compliment to the great visuals, and it's a compliment to how they would just give you that grimy feel, and I thought it did a great job with that. And so there's a lot of really cool things with those visuals, a lot of cool things that they did with that. The next thing that was really cool was just the story itself. It really added to the lore of this Blade Runner universe. Even though I wasn't a fan of the first Blade Runner, here's what I like and really respect about the first Blade Runner. Deckard is a dude who is just disconnected from life, zero passion, and he's really walking around emotionless like a robot in the movie, while you have the replicants who are artificial, who are desperate to live, they're desperate to get life, they're desperate to cling to their lives, they got more life and passion in them than Deckard does. And so it's a very interesting dynamic that raises this philosophical question: what is life? What does it mean to be human? And this movie, with its philosophy and its stories, and I don't want to get too much into the story and blow things because I don't remember seeing a lot of this in the trailer, so I'm not going to spoil a lot of it. I'm just going to say it takes that interesting philosophy that it began with Blade Runner, and it takes it to the next level, and I think it takes it to the next level successfully.
The future of the species is finally unearthed.
It was incredibly interesting. I found this story engaging. I found the underlying philosophy engaging. And maybe where I wasn't very interested in Deckard in the first one, I was very interested in him right now. So, I just thought this movie did really good on all those levels. Negatives. I would have to say my biggest negative, and when I'm thinking negatives, I mean, I'm sure if I thought about it, I could come up with more, but for me, the biggest one was just the length of this movie. It was long. I mean, it was really long, and it felt long. Now, even when I say that, I feel a little conflicted. I feel conflicted because, like I was saying about the story was incredibly interesting. The philosophy was incredibly interesting. The visuals were great. The music was a character unto itself. So even though it was long and it felt long, it's not like I got bored at any given point. It's not like I was in a hurry to jump out of my chair and run. Like, no, I was enjoying the experience. But at the same time, as much as I was enjoying the experience and enjoying the story, I was very conscious of, oh wow, how long has this been going? Are we close to the end? But I don't want it to end because I gotta have this story, like, close good. I mean, like, it was like that. It was like that weird conflicting thing where it's like, this is too long, but I'm also really interested in the story, and I want this story to do it right. And you know what? It did. So that's kind of my confliction with the length of the movie. For me, yeah, the length was a negative, and at the same time, I was pretty darn interested in it. I think in the end, I'm gonna give this movie a B+. I think what keeps me from going into the A range is just the sheer length of this movie, but overall, this movie was a triumph for me. Like, where I was kind of let down by the first one, where I wasn't very interested in the first one, this one took the best parts of the first one for me, and then made those parts even better, and was just really, really interesting, and added to that lore. So, I mean, I really like Blade Runner 2049, and I would recommend seeing it on the big screen. I mean, just even for the musical score alone, I would definitely recommend this on the big screen. It is a big screen experience. If you saw Blade Runner 2049, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. While you're there, hit the subscribe button to become a Durbanian. Next to the subscribe button is that bell. Click it so you're notified the moment I drop new videos. Check out all my other movie reviews, theological analyses, trailer reactions, ranking videos, and so much more on this channel. I'm Durbin. Thank you for checking out Durbania.